this will be a topic up for discussion. And obviously, Russell, we're so glad to have you on the show. And it's hard to end on some, kind of like a kind of a difference of views. But Russell, any
Right. I mean, that's what sports is all about.
absolutely, yeah,
Okay?
it'll be interesting how these teams wrap up. And it's only week 6, as you mentioned, only week
Exactly.
6. Yeah,
And that's my original point, okay? It is only week 6. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, could you imagine if there was a team that was 5-1, and all of a sudden they lost one of its great players in its history, in Ray Lewis, and this lost its top cover corner in Ladarius Webb,
and Haloti Nada
and
too.
already playing well with Terrell Suggs? They're 5-1 right now. It'll be we're about to find out, and they play Houston this week. We're about to find out what the future lies for the Baltimore Ravens. Just remember something about the NFL, and I say this, it's not just 16 games, it's 17 weeks, and a lot happens over the course of weeks. And it is a grind, and it is a long grind, and it's one of the most entertaining grinds to watch. And the best part about the NFL is we don't know what's going to happen, okay? And I'll throw out one more stat for you in terms of predictability. We've now gone 8 straight years in the NFL where the team with the best record in the league has not won the Super Bowl.
It's perhaps turning into a league where it's a completely unpredictable league. It's a league of parity. Any week, any given week, any given Sunday, any team could win. Russell, obviously, this has been a topic up for debate. It's been a half hour of great football talk with you, and obviously, Russell, we're very happy to have you part of our show.
Well, thank you very much. I really had a good time with it. I mean, like I said, it's good fun, and it's a game. It's a fun game. But boy, I'd be hard pressed to think the season the way it started out this year. Think about it. I'll leave you with this because I know you got to go. Last year we had a lockout, and we didn't know what we were going to see. This year we had a normal off season, and we can't believe what we're seeing.
Well, the referees wouldn't make it exactly normal, but of course, it's been a lot less than last year.
I'm talking about players.
Yeah.
I'm talking about player preparation and stuff like that. Okay, last
Correct.
year there was no player preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this year there's at least player preparation. The players can't do much about the officials. And believe me, the officials they made their marks in the 3 weeks that they were there.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about that. But I'm going to be curious how we see it go. And trust me, 3 or 4 weeks down the road, next time I come on or whenever you have me back, if you're kind enough to do that, we'll probably be talking about a bad call that a regular official made.
Absolutely. I could totally see. I mean, just over these few weeks, it's been the same key. But thanks, Russell. Obviously, glad to have you on, and a lot of great football talk. And hopefully, we'll have you on in the next few weeks. We appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, that was Russell Braxton. He is just reading down the credentials real quick. He's a writer for quite a few football websites, including most notably BleacherReport.com. He contributed to NFL Magazine, a writer for Athlon Sports, and EndZoneNews.com. He's part of www.ProFootballGuru.com. And Russell Braxton, glad to have you part of the show. Our very first sports writer, and Phil, obviously, we went way more than we would expect, but this is a league of parity, and it can come down to any week. And obviously, any given Sunday includes this game between the Chargers and the Broncos that, over our half-hour discussion, things have turned around, and the Broncos have gotten things going. Phil, what do you have for us on the Monday night game in Qualcomm?
Well, I just got to say that last half an hour was a blast, and I really respect all the opinions that Mr. Baxter had, and I really look forward to having him back again. It's definitely good to get, me and you, Nick, we tend to agree on a lot of things. We have our little disagreements, but to have somebody with a completely different spin on it will definitely make it entertaining and will open up everybody's eyes to more broader understanding of this game that we love so much. The best way that I was trying to fit this in there when he was on the show, but I'll throw it out there anyway. The best way I always look at these teams, you say that the Falcons are 6-0. You got to think about a few years ago when the Josh McDaniels-led Denver Broncos were 6-0 and then finished the season 8-8 and did not make the playoffs. And you look at a team like that, and it really shows you that you have no idea what this league has in store for us. And I think you said it best. It's a league of parity. And speaking of a league of parity, The 24-0 lead that the Chargers had has been dropped down to 3 as the Broncos are trailing only 21-24 with 12 minutes left. The Chargers do have the ball right now. They just completed a first down catch, and this game is really heated up. It's been hard to keep tabs of it with the conversation that we've been having, but this game is far from over with 12 minutes left.
And obviously, just reading down the stats real quick, the Chargers have had 40 yards of total second half yards offensively, and that's been a key for the Chargers. They have 2 different halves. That was the case against the Saints, where they completely, as of late, just absolutely crumbled under pressure. And real quick, getting out of this Monday night game, we'll be wrapping up here, and obviously NFL Goal Line, perhaps the most fun had the entire year on this show. But certainly it's nice to have someone with completely different opinions, as you mentioned, and in a way, for just an NFL fan in general, who would not be a fan of parity, of the best team in the AFC, from last year going 3-3, and no one predicting the Cardinals to start 4-0. Just so many topics that no one predicted, and obviously it's a league of parity, and obviously this will be very interesting coming down to the wire. We went over the AFC East, a 4-team run over there in that division, and just so many great topics. And real quick, our last big topic of the day, we're wrapping up our show. Just a quick minute, Phil, on your favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles, another big-time loss, this time against an inferior Detroit team in overtime.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where you feel that you were the better team out there, and you did not come away with the win. Here's a team, we had a 10-point lead going late in the game, and there's really not a lot I can say about it. It's been 2 days, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, as a fan and as an analyst, and I'm, inspiring to be. And you look at this team, and, the way I imagine this team is it's a world-class swimmer with an anchor tied to him. So no matter how just gifted you are, you're never going to make the strides that you want, and that's the way I look at this team right now. Is just, they have all this great talent, and for some reason they're not getting it done. I hope, as you said, and as Mr. Baxter has, said to us all night, it seems it's only 6 weeks in. They're 3-3. They're fighting in there. Here's a team, they were 1-4 last year, and we're a player or 2 away from still making the playoffs. So I definitely haven't given up yet. If that's what people are waiting for me to say, I've definitely not given up, and I could still think this team can make the playoffs. It's definitely going to be a wild ride, but that's why you watch the NFL. You watch it for the wild ride. You don't go on roller coasters that are really smooth and very predictable. You want that wild ride. You like to be shook around. That's exactly what the NFL is.
The NFL certainly has a lot of storylines on their hands, and obviously putting you on the spot, Phil, real quick. Now, of course, we didn't really prepare much for this, but it's early in the year too. But who do you think going down the stretch in both conferences? Give me 1 or 2 teams that you see making their way deep into the playoffs, and perhaps the 1 or 2 best teams that you will see make their way into the Super Bowl. Kind of like a Super Bowl prediction for Week 6.
Well, as of Week 6, if the season ended now, I guess I'll put it that way. If the season ended now, you would have to say the Falcons because they are playing the best football as of right now. I cannot stress that phrase enough. You look at the Falcons, the Packers could knock them off in the playoffs. You really don't know because you really only have that small slate of games. It really comes down to this year, who gets hot at the right moments. So you really don't know. It'd be really easy to say that the Falcons would make it. And I haven't thrown the Ravens completely out yet. I think they can make a push even without Ray Lewis because they have that extra thing to fight for. I mean, look at the Colts knocking off the Packers. They had a little bit more to play for than the Packers. I think, we all know that story. So, definitely the Ravens still, and the Texans probably be the 2 top in the AFC as far as like championship game would go. Then the Falcons, and you have the Packers. The Niners aren't out of it. I really do think it's too early to tell.
Too early to tell, certainly for every team in the National Football League. But right now, this is a Week 6 show. This is not a Super Bowl preview show. But in a way, I would have to disagree just real quick with your NFC prediction because the Atlanta Falcons have played too easy of a schedule, and I see them crumbling under pressure in the playoffs. Obviously, I mean, barring some big-time disappointment, they're on their way to the postseason. So over in the NFL, in the NFC, it's got to be the Green Bay Packers. They're just too dominant of a team. They're getting their stride now, and obviously the New England Patriots have a similar story in the AFC. Just running down the quick scores for Week 6 in the National Football League, we talk about a league of parity, and that was not more on tap than when the Tennessee Titans took care of the Steelers on a game-winning drive to win in regulation, 26-23. Your final there, Matt Hasselbeck, perhaps can give the Titans a push for 6, 7, perhaps 8 wins. Now, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Obviously, the Titans are still a team in progress. The Falcons, a nail-biting win with 40 seconds to go, game-winning drive over the Raiders. The Ravens win in a close match against the Cowboys. Another close match between the Browns and the Bengals. Nothing to make of those two teams, but obviously Cincy took a step back today. The Dolphins defeat the Rams in a very surprising win at home over the St. Louis squad. Jets blow out the Colts in a surprising upset. The Detroit Lions over the Eagles in overtime. 38-10 score in Tampa Bay between the Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Another overtime game between the Bills and Cardinals that went Buffalo's way. A single 1-point win over the New England Patriots. Seattle now 4-2. The Giants over the Niners in a very big-time game that really will turn the tide in the NFC East in a way. The Giants now, after Week 6, seemingly the best team, but that seemingly changes every single week. The Redskins with RG3 over the Vikings, certainly Minnesota having a hot start. Green Bay over the Texans in convincing fashion, 42-24. And in the Monday night game between the San Diego Chargers and the Denver Broncos, a second straight interception of Phillip Rivers have given the Broncos a chance to tie this game or take the lead. The Broncos are near field goal range at the San Diego 40-yard line with 10.5 minutes to go in regulation. So a very impactful Week 6 in the National Football League. NFL Goal Line was presented to you by National Sports on Spreaker.com with Nick Rice and Phil Nunziata. And for my co-host, any final thoughts on a very exciting Week 6 of football?
This was one of my favorite shows to do. It's always good to see, people jumping in on this show. And, if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, go ahead and throw it on our Facebook page. We can only think of so many things to talk about. If there's something that you'd like our opinion on, just throw it out there, and hopefully we can get to it. The more interaction that we get, the better this show can be.
And we have so many ways for you to get going on the Facebook page. We have a Facebook page trying to get your interaction. We have we'll probably we'll give you updates on exactly what we're trying to do to make you more happy as a viewer, and we're trying to get going on perhaps a Twitter page or something like that. Obviously, we're on Spreaker.com as well, and we are looking for call-in numbers. Our number is 951-515-4552. Again, 951-515-4552. Obviously, the National Football League causes for a lot of debate. That was not more on top when we had a very special guest appear on our show. And obviously, for Nick Rice and Phil Nunziata, it's been a very exciting Week 6 of football, and we are always glad to bring all the storylines on tap for another week of football here on the NFL Goal Line. Week 6 is in the books. For Nick Rice and Phil Nunziata, that is it for NFL Goal Line. We will see you next week with everything to do about the National Football League. One last update between the Broncos and the Chargers. Still a field goal game with 9 minutes to go, but the Broncos knocking on the door in the red zone. Obviously, this will be a topic for discussion in the next week. We end the show with a touchdown reception by Brandon Stokely. We'll see you next week on the NFL Goal Line. Goodbye.